Well, Tallender doesn't do Olympic lifting anymore.
Yeah. He'd be doing music.
He'd be trying to take. Do you follow him?
Yeah, I do.
He's trying to take 10 seconds off his mile time every day.
Yeah, well, he just does like random fitness stuff, which is cool.
Dude, he stitched an Alec Bennis podcast clip saying, like, if you're in your 20s,
yeah, and
like
you can't run under 6 minutes.
6-minute mile.
You're out of shape. He said it's like a detriment to your health.
It's like, dude, that's crazy. I can't.
Yeah, I can't do that.
A lot of people I know can't do that.
Well, I think that's just an example too of like someone who's like really good at one thing, and then it's just like everyone should be able to do this. This is easy.
Well, he's good. He's good at a lot of stuff for his size, but he's definitely a really good runner. And it's just like not. I know what he was saying about it, like the VO2 max being, like, cardiovascular fitness is the number one indicator for longevity and health. Like, if you don't have any type of aerobic capacity, like, you're probably going to die pretty young. Like, if your heart isn't able to pump blood through your body, it's just not optimal for living a long time. But 6-minute mile is crazy. I can't do that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that's just like me being able to say, like, I'm 26 and I could do a sissy squat to back bend and deadlift 550 pounds and dunk a basketball. And I wasn't even an elite Division 1 or pro level athlete, so everyone should be able to do that. It's like, dude, like I just picked like the three things I was good at.
Yeah. I picked the three things that I really like to do.
Yeah,
and everyone should do it now.
Yeah.
But you could definitely test VO2 max in like totally different ways too. Like the bike is a good way to do it, or like running's not for everybody. Like running feels terrible for a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, we could get into it a little bit when we get to this section of the.
Nah, we ripping
podcast.
right now. This is the ripping section.
Yeah,
We ripping about running.
Yeah, well, yeah. So I mean, I was running like every day for like 2 weeks, and then
Bagged it.
no, well, it wasn't intentional, but I kind of just bagged my own training in general, which kind of sucked. Because, you know, the last episode I think we recorded, maybe 2 episodes ago, I was talking about how I was like 90% back to health with my arm, and I was like working my way back. I think 2 days after we recorded that, I hurt myself again.
I also hurt myself. It's okay.
I got the wrist wrap on.
I also sprained. I
Dude,
probably.
you know that thing's doing nothing, right?
It's doing nothing, but it's preventing me from pronating and to get pain. So for right now, I'm keeping it on.
Maybe I should wear one of those.
She also, finish your thought, but I'm gonna be ripping about my my doctor in air quotes today.
Yeah. Well, what I was gonna say was how, so in April I joined a new gym, which I talked about on the podcast. Like if you're interested in listening back, you can hear my evolution of my thoughts changing drastically over the last 2 months, which I think is funny because I think that the last 3 years since I've been coaching, I've been struggling to find the balance between recovery, nutrition, and training, like an athlete, I'll say, training, and also coaching, right? And like now
And owning a business.
And now owning a business the last year. And so I feel like in 2025 I was doing my best. And then I joined a new gym, and I feel like that was like super exciting for me to be able to like take things to the next level. And my second day at that gym is when I was Olympic lifting and I hurt my arm. And aside from the arm, everything else was feeling great. I was really super motivated. I was going into the summertime where I'm not training at Southern anymore, so I got some time back on my hands. Last summer, I was training like 3 hours a day for like 6 weeks because we had a short summer last year because of the Olympic trials. So I was looking forward to getting back into that, and I was getting into running. My wife just ran a 5K. I joined a new gym. I felt like I was rolling. I felt like I was clicking on all cylinders. And the arm was really kind of nagging me, but it wasn't stopping me from training. And like I said, I was working my way back, and then I was doing a hammer curl, and I got up to like right here, like 80%. And I was like, oh, this is going to crack. And I was like, it's either going to crack and open up some new range of motion for me, or it's going to send me the opposite direction. And I was like, I'm not going to really know until tomorrow. I cracked. It hurt really bad. Sure enough, the next day I woke up and I felt like I took like 5 steps backwards. So then I reached out to my surgeon, got an x-ray. Sure enough, I have a bone spur on my forearm, my bicep, and my tricep, and it's just locking my arm up, and it's not really going to get any better than what it is now until I get it surgically removed. So I'm going to have an arthroscopic surgery in September sometime to get them removed, because I'm going to wait until after the javelin camp in August. But honestly, when I found that out was like right after the Range of Strength trip that I went on. And when I went to Range of Strength, we were talking about how we do our online programming, and I was listening to the Kelly Matthews episode on
It's a great episode.
on the Coach 'em Up podcast. And
Coach 'em up if you're listening. We're big fans.
welcome to The Gap, where we just review the Coach 'em Up podcast and talk about it.
So if you guys haven't listened to the Coach 'em Up podcast, don't worry, we got you.
The Spark Notes version.
We will give you the absolute bro version of the bro podcast of Coach 'em Up.
The Coach 'em Up podcast with 10 years less experience.
And much less fame and success.
Oh, man.
We getting there.
But anyway. But so then so with that episode and the Range of Strength, he was telling me how he does voiceovers for all his videos when he puts them in the app. And Kelly Matthews does the same thing. And so the way I always look at things is just like when we bought these microphones, I was looking at, all right, what do the top podcasters use? They use Shure SM7B microphones. So I was like, all right, we've been doing this almost 2 years. I was like, we got to have the highest quality stuff to be able to compete with other shows that are better. That's just the type of person I am. And so I made the app so that I would have the only Javelin app in the world. And now I'm like, all right, other people who are at 350,000 subscribers or followers or at 1 million followers, what do they do, right? Because I'm at 43 or something, 43,000. So they will go through all their videos and do voiceovers and make them high definition and nice and aesthetic. So I was like, all right, so I got to do that now. Right when I made that decision to do that, I found out. So I was originally going to do it in the fall to kind of take my time, because right now I got the camp coming up. We're working on the production of Jack Javelin plyo balls. And I just applied for a USATF license to make Jack Javelin a club team. So I'm starting my club team this summer. So we're having group practices, and I'm also taking the team to meets and stuff over the summer as well. So I'm really excited about all those 3 new things coming out, as well as I'm having a videographer come out in July to film the new addition to our free course. So the new free course is going to be like 6 to 8 new chapters, new guides. So I got a lot of stuff going on right now. And then I found out about my arm and how I need surgery. And so then I went from basically having the highest motivation for working out that I've had in 3 years to the lowest motivation I've had. Because then I was just like, damn, dude, I can't believe I have to have another elbow surgery. I was like, it's just one of those things where you, like, once you go through it, you're like, all right, I checked that box off. Like, I got the UCL repaired. I'm good going forward. And so kind of what happens is, since I had the torn UCL for 2 years prior to getting it fixed, a lot of times that kind of just sends the signal to your body for a very long time that joint is unstable, because it was so used to just throwing on a torn UCL for 2 years. So even after the surgery, your body is kind of like, we know we're okay, but after you get that surgery and then return to a high level of competition, better than what I was before, because I ended up, because power cleaning and throwing are the 2 things that bother it the most. And I ended up increasing my power clean like 50 pounds after Tommy John surgery, from like 275 to 328. And then my javelin throw was up like 5 meters, but it was also up 5 meters from a full approach at 55 to a 7-step at 60. So the 7-step at 60, even though it's 5 meters further, is really putting a lot more stress on the elbow in terms of arm power, because I was relying a lot less on the approach after my surgery. So that being said, now that like the last 3 years, I've been coaching and haven't been paying as much energy into the rehab and the arm care side of things. A lot of times in practice, I'll just kind of pick up a javelin and throw it without warming up, or like when I do throw, I do a 15-minute warm-up instead of a 45-minute warm-up. My arm care consists of bicep curls and dead hangs instead of like a full-blown deep tissue massage and red light and mobility and isometrics like it used to. So between having it torn for 2 years and then returning to a high level of competition, and then now the last 3 years kind of taking it for granted almost, like how good I've felt after the surgery, my body is basically sending the signal to my elbow that that area is unstable. So it just grows extra bone in the surrounding area to prevent me from getting into that deep catch position in the Olympic lift or throwing, because basically it's saying these two movements are causing us a lot of pain. We need him to stop doing that. So we send the signal to the body to just grow extra bone so that it locks it up so you can't do it anymore. And so it's unfortunate, but that's kind of just like that signal and that response that your body sends to an area when it's damaged and weak. And it's just another lesson learned. So anyway, after finding that out, and then I'm like, all right, well, now I can't redo the videos in the fall because I'm going to be recovering from surgery for 2 to 3 months. So I was like, I got to just do them now, I guess. And so now I'm like, the last 3 weeks I've filmed like 350 videos, all from like 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. every day. And then I'll coach in the evening. And, I've just been pretty much battling through the pain, and, it's not going to get too much worse. And so literally like the day that I found out I have to get the surgery, the next day I went into the gym and was like, every exercise that was a bicep curl, a row, or an Olympic lift, that was like really the stuff that bothers it, I just banged them all out. I was like, it's not going to get that much worse in one day. I banged out all the videos and just did it. And then I rode that wave to then continue with the other 300 videos following after. And honestly, it's kind of taken the joy out of training, because now it feels like work and it's painful. And like, I know that, when I was doing like the first month, I was doing like an hour of arm care a day. So it was actually getting to be able to feel pretty good. But now, like when I do train, I'm just like, I know that the surgery is coming up, and I'm just, the only workouts I've done the last 3 weeks have been filming for the programs. And so, it's really exciting that I'm able to level up the programs and make them higher quality and stuff like that. But it definitely just feels like I said, it's been a lot of days where like I'll film for 5 hours and then I'll take like 2 days off from the gym entirely, where I'll just edit the next couple of days. And, I've taken the most days off the last 3 weeks that I mean, granted, the days I do go to the gym, I'm there for 5 hours.
Yeah,
but then
it's your whole job.
Yeah.
You're there the entire day.
Yeah. So like I'm there for 5 hours, and then I'll take like 2 days off and just edit them. And then I'll go back for 5 hours, get another like 100 videos done or whatever. And so, yeah, mentally it was definitely been tough the last 3 weeks, because like I said, I'm not training for aesthetics anymore. I'm not training for performance, really. I'm not training for running. I'm kind of just training to, get the videos done and taken care of, and bang out what I can now so that I don't have to do it after the surgery. So yeah, like I was saying, it's just been it was like the highest motivation I've had the last 3 years to now the lowest motivation I've had the last 3 years in like the course of a month. So it's been a little bit of a whirlwind, but now I'm done filming all the videos at the gym now. So the rest of the ones I have to do are like running and jumping at the field, or some throwing stuff, which I might have to just repurpose some videos from over the last couple years for now, because I'm not going to be able to really do much with that. But yeah, so I would say mentally that's been kind of tough for me, but I'm looking forward to next week, where I'm able to just get back in my routine of going to the gym and working around the injury and not worrying about the filming and not having it feel like a job anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I went through something similar last week. I got last week. I've been still doing Haas 5 weeks in. Just finished week 5.
Damn, that went fast.
Yeah. Week 6.
You said it's 20 weeks long?
Yeah. So I'm 25% done. And last week, it was crazy to think about the emotional attachment to training it's very significant, because I got to a point last week, I had bad sunburn on my back, like really bad, and it got like super itchy. I couldn't sleep the night before. It's like Tuesday night. Then Wednesday, I was off like 3 hours of sleep. I deadlifted, felt like shit. It felt terrible. my wrist was still bothering me. So I was trying to figure out like what to do for bench press. Like dumbbells hurt, barbell no shot, can't do push-ups, but the multi-grip bar works a lot. So I just do all my pressing movements with that. Squats sometimes feel like front squats been feeling really good, back squats still iffy. But I remember last week thinking like, oh, is this training program like do I really stay with it? Like there's a lot of days where I just didn't want to train and just thought about skipping it entirely. Like I didn't feel like emotionally involved. But then with tracking the weights in the program, like I was looking at all the weights, I was like, I was up on every exercise from the week before. Like on paper, I improved. But like mentally, I told myself like I'm falling behind. Like this was a bad week. But in reality, like that's just not true. Because I think me and you both have that mentality and that expectation of like when we have a really good day or like a really good block of training or like we're really into it 100%, like an all or nothing mentality, that when we train, we have an emotional attachment to how we feel doing things. And we're like, this is it. Like we're on, like this program's working. And then when we don't have that, that's when we get like, oh, this sucks. Like I got to switch something up. I got to do something different. But then like this week was a great week of training. And it just goes to show you like how important it is to just either follow a program or have an idea of like what to follow and stay the course, because so many people give up so soon. And I was definitely one of them. It's just mentally I wasn't all in. And yeah, I still performed though. Like I still did what I had to do that week. It was, even though it was like a getting by week, like I still was up from previous weeks. And not to mention, like I did almost break my back like 6 or 7 weeks ago. Like maybe 8, maybe it's like 2 months now. And I'm front squatting and back squatting. I'm sprinting, I'm jumping, and I just compare myself to how I was as a collegiate athlete, being able to train.
Jefferson curl.
Yeah, I was doing those. I did those. Those are nice. I like the regular.
You said that one person was like ripping you about it.
Oh yeah, there's like, this isn't the same, and I go, dude, watch like 15 seconds in, the other guy's doing the exact same thing. I'm also doing it much more slow and controlled because my back did hurt, so I wasn't doing that. But I was thinking about that like this whole week of like I do like the OVR velocity on my deadlifts, and this week I did 350 at 0.5 for all 5. It was 4 reps. It was like 0.5 or meters per second, which is like pretty good for me at 350 for all 5, like on average. But last week I did 345 for 4. My last rep was like 0.25, like extremely slow, like grinder. And I was like, and I bagged most of my workout after that too, because I was just like, I did the deadlift and I did the bench, but I did the dumbbell one, and because my back was so jacked up from the sunburn still, that like my wrist was killing me on dumbbell bench, and my upper back was just bothering me from the sunburn. I was just so like, I don't want to work out anymore. Like I'm done. But I still did more on the deadlift than I did the week before too, which was pretty funny to think about, and just how we are as like high competitive individuals. Like we're always going to compete against ourselves, and like we know what our best self is, and when we don't have it, it almost makes it seem like training is just pointless.
Yeah.
Like what's the point of me working out if I know I'm not going to give it my all? But then you look on paper, like I'm actually stacking wins. Like they're not big wins.
Yeah.
They're little bit of a percentage bump in the right direction. And as long as I just keep doing it, like no matter what I feel, like be aware of your like what you feel going into it, but no, like your feelings shouldn't just stop you from training entirely.
Yeah, and I think that's a good reminder for me too, because the last 3 weeks I actually feel like I benefited from it, because you know how many mobility and plyometric exercises I've done the last 3 weeks?
Yeah, and you
probably more than I've done in the last
all
2
year.
years.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Because I had to do them for the videos, and so a lot of times I skip out on that stuff when I'm training on my own, or I'll do a very abbreviated version, or I'll do my favorite 2 or 3. It's always sissy squat to back.
always the sagittal movements, always the triple broad, always
the bilateral stuff,
always the triple broad and the dumbbell jumps. I'm the exact same way. Like
yeah.
I've been messing around with the split squat switches more. Just the days I sprint, I do them. And Workhorse actually had a funny video of like, this is my favorite exercise for sprinting, and the caption was, just watch and you'll see why. Like no explanation. It was just like, this is why.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just like one of those things too where, all right, the last 3 weeks, mentally I was like, it felt like work, which is, usually I love my job and not much feels like work to me. I enjoy it and I could work all day because I love what I do. But it's one of those things where, those long days at the gym, like I was saying, just, having a shake and then going in my car for 30 minutes, coming back, grabbing an energy drink, just doing whatever I could to just make the day enjoyable. And like, I didn't care if I spent a little bit more money on supplements and stimulants. It was just whatever I wanted to do to make training fun was what I was doing. And so, but yeah, I mean, it's like, all right, well now I actually did a lot of athletic movements the last couple of weeks, which do help training. And it's one of those things too, where it could be tough because I was looking at the timeline and it just sucks because, the surgery I'm getting is not very invasive. It's arthroscopic. So they basically do a couple holes. They go in with a scope. They just kind of pull out the bone spurs. They don't like cut me open and drill like they did with the Tommy John or anything like that. So the recovery time is like, the next day I'll be in PT and I'll work my way back and it'll be a pretty simple thing. But I'm like, all right, it happened in mid-April. Then it took me a month to kind of figure out like, all right, I'll just get this checked out. And then by the time I got an appointment and an x-ray, that was another month. So that's 2 months. And then now my MRI is going to be 2 weeks from now. And then my follow-up appointment is a month from now. And then by the time after the camp, and then by the time I actually get on the schedule, it's going to be September. So I'll be finished rehabbing around Thanksgiving. So now I'm like, all right, well, for something simple, thankfully I could still work around it a decent amount. But it's like now it's from April until November, which sucks. But it is what it is. And it's one of those things where having that reminder of like trying to just maximize lower body strength and even using upper body, like, all right, maybe I won't be able to do as much bicep curls, but I'll still be able to work out my upper body with a lot of other movements and isometrics. And
bench doesn't bother, right? No,
bench doesn't bother me. It's that the lockout, even though it's restricted, it doesn't like hurt. It just I can't get there.
Mm-hmm.
The flexion,
that constant tension reps.
Yeah,
those prison reps, baby.
Yeah, so like any of the inward movements, so like the bicep curl here, or like a deep row hurts. Obviously, like the Olympic lifting is out of the question.
Hell yeah, baby, me too.
You're switching from the Haas Olympic to the
Haas
regular Haas.
Thank God he had one that didn't have Olympic lifting. Yeah. Hey, I tried for 3 weeks. My wrist didn't like it, so I gave up.
Yeah, well, that's why the wrist mobility is so important going into it. And it's just like I was saying too, like looking back, it's just interesting because like the first time that like when I've explained my Tommy John story in the past, that first throwback from Tommy John when I like ripped it up, that was like a lot of tricep. And then 2 years ago, I felt it in the tricep, but it was a lot in like the forearm too. And then my forearm never really felt the same the last 2 years. And then I just kind of chalked it up to I'm throwing a lot and I'm lifting a lot. I'm not doing a lot of recovery. If I wanted to fix it, I could, whatever. But my grip strength wasn't there. Like when I would do dead hangs, like my right side would always feel super, super pumped up compared to my left. And then now with the catch on that clean, here's the bicep. And then it's like, you look at the x-ray and I could see the bone spurs and he's pointing them out to me. The doctor's pointing them out to me. And I'm like, well, that makes sense that I have one in each spot that's been bothering me the last like 3 years,
Yeah, that checks out. Yeah.
But yeah, I felt pain in all 3 of those spots. At least I wasn't going crazy.
Dude, when I first hurt my back, like way before I talked about this before, when I herniated 2 discs in my low back, like I pushed off the MRI. I knew X-ray wouldn't show anything, so I pushed back the MRI for a while. It delayed because getting an MRI for some reason is the hardest thing to do in the world in America.
Yeah, mine's like mine was like took me like a month.
It took me a month, and then I was about to leave. They said, it's broken, and I go, no, it's not. I'm still showing up, and then for some reason it wasn't broken. I think they just wanted to leave early because I literally showed up, and they're like, it works. And I'm like, why'd you tell me it was broken?
The MRI machine was broken?
That's what they said. I legitimately think I was one of their last people for the day on a Saturday, and they just wanted to cancel me. And I was pissed at this point because this was the second time they tried to cancel on me. This would have been the second time. So I was so mad and fed up about my back, and I just wanted to I wanted to know something was wrong with me and like not have it be a mental thing because Sansone
Yeah,
was
that was
on.
like with my thing.
Yeah,
It's like,
Sansone was talking shit the entire time, saying like nothing's wrong with your back, you're being soft, like you're fine. And like, dude, no, like there's definitely something wrong. And this is I saw him every day, and I have a post that I think I'm gonna redo of like why you should find like a really good training partner. I posted about him like 2 years ago, and every single day he would just bully the shit out of me, be like, dude, nothing's wrong with your back, let's deadlift, let's max deadlift, like we got to do RDLs today, we got to squat. I'm like, dude, I'm not training legs. Like I didn't do legs for like 3 months, and then finally I got the MRI and I had 2 disc herniations, and I was kind of relieved. I was like, thank God something's wrong with me so I could send this to Sansone so he stops bullying
well,
me.
you also too, like that's how I felt when I had my torn UCL, is because like I said, I waited almost 2 years until after I initially tore it. And I was always just complaining about it and saying, to like my coaches, like I'm not at full health. Like I can't throw hard today. I got to take a couple weeks off. And I'm just going back and forth, like telling them this. And then at least when I got the validation, I was like, yeah, well, that makes sense why it hurts so bad.
Yeah. It's like kind of messed up in the head, but it's a relief.
Yeah.
Like you're like, all right, I'm not imagining this. Like there is like something physically wrong with me. Like it's not all mental.
Yeah.
But then got the MRI, got an epidural steroid shot. Zach made me do the back extension thing twice a week. The 45-degree back extension twice a week, every week for
GHD.
No GHD. It was the Roman chair, like that 45-degree back one.
Okay.
Where you're at that angle the entire time. And I would do iso holds and reps, and I couldn't do hinges for a while because it like bothered me. But then once I did that for a couple weeks, I did Superman holds, like a lot of extension based stuff. And I was able to go deadlift 500 pounds and squat 507 in my powerlifting meet like 3 months after I got the epidural steroid shot.
Sweet.
And I was like, that's pretty cool. But I remember looking back in those videos, my sumo deadlifts, I was doing tempo work at sumo deadlifts with like 155.
Yeah.
I like going extremely light, but I was doing double pauses. So I would pause off the floor, lift, pause right before the floor, touch, and doing like sets of 8. And I remember doing literally 155, and like this is the hardest deadlift I've ever done in my life.
Yeah.
And this is the time where my deadlift was close to 475.
Yeah.
And I'm doing pre-injury, and I'm doing 155. It was so humbling, and I was like, wow, this sucks.
Yeah. Well, that's what I kind of went back and adjusted in my programs for when I end up changing them. Was like I made a difference between, I got velocity squat, velocity bench, and velocity deadlift, and then I have barbell bench, barbell deadlift, barbells back squat. And so basically, like when I do the voiceover and I'm explaining the difference, like when you do the velocity deadlift, it's okay to like slam it on the ground and use the rebound. When you do the velocity bench, it's okay to use your hips and bounce it off your chest. But then when you do the regular one, you want it slow and controlled, because there's different phases and different programs where before I would always just have like the hips all the way up and like my deadlift is always slamming on the ground. So now I'm distinguishing, all right, when you're warming up, do them slow and controlled and, try to fatigue the muscle a little bit. And then when you get to heavier weights, it's okay to be more explosive and train like an athlete and not necessarily worry about the powerlifting structure of the, whether it's a good lift or a bad lift. Like, when you're warming up, do it that way, and then vice versa when you're going for the main movement, or depending on what phase of what program you're in, know. But we could pivot here now to the next segment here of quote of the week. Did you have one ready?
I mean, it's my quote that I haven't talked about yet, but it's in my bio. Do you know what the quote is in my bio?
If it is to humanly possible, then it is to be.
Close. That's not bad. No one, like, I've had that quote in my bio for probably 5 years, and I don't think anyone's ever read my bio. But it's
that's how I feel when people ask me where I'm located,
or if you have a podcast,
or if I have a program,
or if your name's Jacked.
Yeah, dude, that one dude,
that could be your ripping right there.
Dude,
Go for it.
That dude with 1 million followers DMs me and is like, "Hey, Jacked, like, what's up? Like, what do you, blah blah blah." Doesn't follow me either, so I'm like, there's no way this dude with 1 million followers is reaching out to me personally. He's definitely got like some admin assistant trying to sell me into like some coaching program or something.
This guy's definitely not real.
Yeah. And so I was just like, that's like, yeah, that's what he said. He said, "Hey, Jacked," or Jack or whatever.
And, like, do you have programs?
And then he was asking me if I had a program. I'm like, dude, if you literally looked at my page for like a second, you'd see that my name was Dan. And then also that I have a ton of programs and like free stuff in my bio. And then I was just like, get out of my DMs. But, yeah, so talk about your quote. So if it is humanly possible, what is it? If it is humanly possible.
So if it is humanly possible, no, you can do it too. So it's Marcus Aurelius. It's from the book Meditations. It's very popular in like a Stoic philosophy mindset. Like if you follow the Daily Stoic, I'm sure you've seen this quote before. But I think of it in terms of like true athletic feats. Like you see people doing things that are absolutely crazy. Like, this is what it started with. Like things that are absolutely crazy. Like why can't I do that as well? Like I'm a human. Yeah. They're also human. Like, yes, I am I would never be LeBron James. There's basketball for you. I had to put one in. But like I would like Tom Brady winning
football.
Like, there's football. I had to do it. But like Barry Bonds, baseball.
Dude, we got to get all
Mike Tyson
different sports above your name.
Yeah. I mean but like the quote, if you look at it like face value, oh, well, you're going to say like Barry Bonds hit X amount of home runs in one season and had his crazy career. Like you're saying you could do that too. Like obviously not. But I think it's more so taking off that buffer that a lot of people put on themselves of them telling themselves they can't do something just because of their situation or their genetics or their biomechanics or like how they're structured. I think a lot of people sell themselves short because they just don't believe like that it's possible. And then the story of the 4-minute mile like never being broken, you have scientists saying like it'll never happen. Then one guy, I forget his name, broke it, and then after a year, 11 other people did it too.
Yeah, well, that's like the Division II javelin record was 78.
There's javelin.
It was 78 meters, and it lasted for I think like almost 40 years. 2023, it was broken. 2024, 2 people broke it, and then this year, another person broke the old record. So now, when you look at the Division II all-time list, the record that stood in 2023, the beginning of 2023, is now 5th all time.
Yeah,
and Jordan, my athlete, is number 1. Only person to break 80.
I did that.
That was all me, baby. No, I'm just kidding.
Rant method.
Shout out Jordan Davis, University of Georgia. Now,
go Dogs.
One thing I'll say is what I'm hyped about for Jordan being at Georgia now is that so the guy that broke the Division II record in 2023, when he won the national championship for D2, he threw 79. Then the next year he transferred to Miami. He kind of had a bad year in 2024. This year he came back, threw 82, won the Division I nationals, and threw 81. And they made like this whole post saying that he was so back when he broke the record, he was like, "Oh, Division II javelin record holder, right?" And now they're made all these posts about him being like first person ever to win a D2 national title and a D1 national title.
You want Jordan to be the second guy to do it?
Yeah, and I'm like, dude, that's sick because then the next year Jordan broke the D2 record, but he broke that guy's record by 5 meters. And now Jordan's at a D1 school, and so I don't know if he's going to compete for Georgia in 26 or 27, but
how many years this guy got?
Well, the thing is, if he takes like a medical redshirt year, because he started competing this year and then stopped, so like now that he's at Georgia now, if he were to like just train there and not be like a part of the team, then he'd be able to come back still in the window. So I don't know. It's up to him, whatever he decides. But either way, if he comes back and competes for Georgia next year and then wins the national title, he'll be able to he'll follow that guy up again and be able to basically do the same thing he did, but a year later.
Yeah, it's pretty sick.
Yeah, it'd be cool. But, yeah, anything else you want to say about your quote?
I mean, if you haven't read Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, I think it's a very good read. It's a book I would highly recommend to a lot of people. And then something that I would also mention is this book was a requirement reading for me in high school. When I was a junior, senior. And high school brat, thought it was dumb.
Hmm.
Really thought it was stupid, and I just didn't read it. And like, I was like, I'm not reading this. And then 3 years later, my junior year of college, I just found it again, and I was like, let me just read it. And that quote has been I read it today when I was lifting. I read it every time I go on my Instagram page. Like, I always see it. It's always something in my head, in the back of my head, like when I'm doing something, when I'm coaching or like branching off in like an online field, like listening to Kelly Matthews that we talked about in the podcast. Like, if she can do it, or like these guys like Joe DeFranco starting off in the garage and building up, Ben Bruno, Zach Evan-Esch, Eric Cressy, like all these goats, like the state Tim Riley, whoever you follow in like the industry for strength and conditioning, like at the end of the day, they're all dudes or girls. Like, they're all people. They're human.
Yeah.
It's not like they're like a godlike divine figure that will just always be better than you. Like, this is something that you can do as well. And then for me as a coach, like having that like early on, like that imposter syndrome or not being quite sure of myself, and having that be thoughts and battles of going back of like, do I really charge $100 an hour for my training session? Like, I'm worth $100 an hour. Like, when I first started, I was training people for free.
Yeah.
I made a post a couple years ago too that I might have to reuse. It was like, my first ever program I sold for was a bang and a bag of gummy bears. So the first program I ever wrote, like that I got some type of payment for, was a $3 bang and a 99-cent bag of gummy bears. And that's what I got. That's what I valued my program or like my knowledge as. It was like a $4 thing. Like, at the time I was like, this is sick. But now I'm like, I think I'm worth a little bit more than a bang and a bag of gummy bears. But it's still nice. Like, I would still take that, to be honest.
Well, I mean, you look at too how, it took you 5 years to get 1,500 followers, and then year 6, not only did you double, but you ended up going from 1,500 to 100,000. 110,000.
Which is wild.
Yeah, it's insane. And so now you look at someone like you said, like Kelly Matthews or Tim Riley or whatever, and I know from like a business standpoint, you obviously have a long way to go in terms of having a product and stuff, but it's like in terms of following, you're right up there with them. And I went through that same thing with Kevin when I was getting coached by him. I was like, oh my God, he's got 15,000 followers. And I just thought that, because he was leading the way in online javelin coaching, and I was just like, that's so cool. This guy's so smart, whatever, which obviously he is. And it takes a lot of courage and forward thinking to be able to start something like that, especially when you're the first one. But now here I am, and I'm doing it just as good as he is. And
imagine in like 10, 15 years of like what the javelin coaching industry could become because of what Kevin did first that sparked you for you to do your thing. And then, because there's probably thousands of javelin coaches around the country that never even would have thought to have their website, make a YouTube channel, have an Instagram page. But now that Kevin started it, you just trailblazed right behind him and like did your own thing. Bench heavy, throw far, be a bro, throw through the point, donkey kick. That's all I got. But that's the thing. Like 1,000 of the javelin coaches that never even thought of it. Like, if kids are passionate about it, they'd follow right in your footsteps.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, that's just, I'm sure there's going to be someone else that comes up behind me and tries to do something similar and is able to get there faster because of what I've done. And I think that's where leading into my quote is by another philosopher, Alex Hormozi.
There it is. One Alex Hormozi quote a podcast.
Yeah. So
per segment.
And this is kind of what goes back to what I was talking to you about earlier off camera. And his quote is, hard work is the goal. And I think that the big thing for me coming into this year was a big shift for me, because last year, obviously, I came out with the Velocity program, the Strength Through Length program, the Strong and Mobile program. I did my private lessons. And going into this year, I was like, all right, I'm going to put them on the app. I'm going to have a subscription. So that's going to help my business. It's going to help me be able to actually like coach kids more online rather than being able to just have them buy the PDF and run it on their own. And then I'm going to do the camp, and that's it. And I'm just going to see how the year goes. And I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing and keep, doing the content and that's it. And last summer, I'm looking back and how when I was done with Southern, I was like, dude, this is my busiest time of year for my business, but I also have the most time on my hands because I'm not at Southern. And then, I was able to train 3 hours a day. I trained, maybe 2 clients a day or whatever, did a couple sales. So my online stuff did well and I was chilling. And, I still, obviously I did a lot of work leading up to that point, but I didn't really know what else to do to push the needle forward in the meantime. So I came out with the free course and filmed 8 professional YouTube videos, but that was all in August. So like June and July, I was kind of just in maintenance mode. And then going into this year, I was like, all right, like I did a lot of work in the fall to get the app ready and stuff like that. And this year I was going in with like, all right, I'm just going to see how it goes. And then what happens is, I'm working constantly on the media stuff. And then my clientele is like doubling and tripling, and I'm working hard with all my athletes and online and in person. And then I got a lot of people that are far away and they're interested in 2-hour sessions and maybe some group stuff to make it a little bit more valuable for them to come back a little bit more frequently, because I have a lot of people that come from, over an hour away or out of state or whatever. So I'm like, all right, well, why don't I, instead of just making like a group, why don't I make it a club team? That way we could go to Jav Fest together. We could go to Nutmeg together. So that's been a whole new project, getting that stuff organized of like actually what it means to have a team for Jacked Javelin instead of just me being the face and being the coach or whatever. And so then I'm like, all right, well, now, like I was saying, I've taken the last 3 weeks to redo all the programs and all the videos, and that's been a huge project. And then now we're working on the production of Jacked Javelin plyo balls, and that's another project, and that's taken up a lot of time and effort. And then we got the camp coming up, that's taken up a lot of time and a lot of effort. And so it's just really cool because you see that if I had known, like I was going into this year, if I didn't add anything new and I was just maintaining my current clientele and maintaining my current programs in the app and not re-upping them and making them better, and we just kept the same microphones and didn't spend 15 hours setting these up and, $2,000 invested into it.
Hey, they sound better though.
They do sound a lot better. And, we could have just been in maintenance mode this year and be like, all right, year 2, like, let's just see how it goes. But it's like, yeah, it's not just year 2, let's see how it goes. It's like the goal is to make everything as good as possible and to improve it and to keep pushing forward and to really just take this thing to the next level every opportunity you get. And so that was for me a big realization this year was it's not just like, all right, year 2, I'm better than last year, so let's just kind of like wait and see how it goes. It's like, all right, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure my current clientele is taken care of and it's solid and we're doing good. But also now that we are growing and expanding and getting the funds to work on some of the other projects and allocate things to different resources, that's where I'm like, now is the time to just keep the momentum going. And I kind of realized that there might not ever be a point where I'm truly satisfied, because I think that if I was looking at where I'm at now last year, I would have been like, I made it. But now, right now, sitting in the moment, I'm like, I still have so much more left that I can do for next year. Say next year, the programs are all updated and they're perfect. We have the plyo balls. Those are out and those are rolling. Those are doing well. People love them. We have the club team. Club team's packed. I have my private lessons. My schedule's full. The podcast is growing, whatever. And it's like me looking at that next year, I would be like, dude, that would be so awesome. And like, I want to get there. And then I'm sure next year there's going to be something that pops up where I'm like
always
going to be pushing forward to the next thing. And so that's where I'm at with it too, is like realizing that my current goals right now are going to happen next year because of the work that I'm doing right now. But next year, when I have what I'm currently aspiring for, there's still going to be the next thing for me to push towards. And it's just like, there is never going to be a goal. It's just always going to be hard work is the goal.
Yeah, Hormozi was, just to double quote him, as he just said, he's always just going to keep moving the goalposts back. Like, all right, he made 10K a month. All right, the next goal is 20, and then hits that. All right, the next one's 50. Like he's never gonna be all right. Like the same, like the guy that he was saying in his podcast, like he was all right with making like his base salary, working 9 to 5, getting his 2 weeks of paid time off, and then Hormozi's like, I respect it. I'll never understand it. Like it's just I will never. He'll never understand it, and I think you and I kind of have that same approach to it of like there's always just going to be another thing to like shoot for.
Yeah, and I feel like I always find myself in that spot where I'm like there's going to be I might be like all right in maintenance mode for like a month, and then when I'm in maintenance mode usually I do a really good job of like spending more time on the content, and then the content leads another kind of like boom.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, all right, well now we got it back in the growth phase.
Yeah, it's just like different phases of different priorities each month.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jocko Willink, baby, another quote. Prioritize and execute. You got to figure out what's most important, prioritize that, and then execute on it. And that's always going to change month, week to week, day to day.
Yeah.
But you got to find what the main big thing is, prioritize, execute on it, finish that product fully, or finish that mission is what he would say as a Navy SEAL. And then, boom, right on to the next one. Like, what are we going to prioritize?
Yeah.
Extreme ownership.
Athlete highlight, what do you got?
Had a 14-year-old kid, PR's rack pull by like 30 pounds. He hit 225 for 5. That was pretty sick. And I got my fellas back on Saturdays. That's just like the highlight. I love training those, like the guys I've been with for like 3-4 years. Even some of the girls too. Like when they come in, I kind of feel myself getting back into like how I used to be, like joking and just being funny and like just being more so like their friend rather than just being like that strict coach. Like when I came into the grind, it was all new kids trying to put on like that facade of like they need to respect me. There's like a stigma in the baseball world. It's like they have to call you coach, and like I wasn't really sure how I fit and all that. Like the kids that are on the baseball side come into here, like it should feel like the same vibe of like level of like this is what we do. But then my old athletes come in that I had more free reign with, and complete difference.
Yeah.
Like I just feel it myself, and I think this summer has been like a big notice for me of like when they get in and I don't want to say like bubbly is the right word, but I just got more energy. Like I'm bouncing around and like it's just fun to have those kids that have been there for like not there, but like with me for like 3-4 years, and it's just completely a different vibe as like a coach. And I think that's just the biggest highlight, I'd say, just from like not even from like a weightlifting side or from a development side. It's just the vibe has gotten a lot better.
Yeah, I actually had the same thing today. Because like today my 3 o'clock rolls up like 5 minutes late, hair's all disheveled, wearing sandals. He's got glasses on. I'm like, dude, I didn't know you had glasses. He's like, yeah, I usually wear contacts, whatever. He's just kind of like going through the motions type of kid. And he's like, I forgot my spikes at home. He's like, I only got sneakers. I'm like, all right, whatever, it's fine. And then we end up spending like 30 minutes warming up because he's just like talking to me about his personal life and just like the stuff that's going on at home in a typical 16-year-old. And he's just like so funny because he's making it seem like it's just all the end of the world to crashing down on him. And I'm like, dude, trust me, like you're going to be fine. It's not, none of that stuff matters at all. And then, we throw a little bit, whatever. We're kind of just like hanging out. And then the next group is like 2 brothers that are like, they're trained like 4 hours a week. Like their dad, like when they signed up for the hour, he always just wanted them to do more and more. And I'm like, well, my schedule, like blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I don't care. Like, he's like,
screw your schedule.
No, not that he didn't care about my schedule, but he was like, I'll compensate you for the extra time. Like I want them doing the strength, like the mobility stuff, the physical prep,
doing everything.
He wants to do, and so they're like, then I'm like, when that kid left and then these kids rolled up, it's just like a complete switch even in me. And it was just funny because like I noticed it in myself. It was like the first hour we were literally just like talking and like shooting around and just like kind of just whatever, just vibing. And I was like, this kid's just stressed out and just doesn't probably really want to be here.
Dude, you 100% as a coach get the energy from the kids.
Oh yeah.
Like 1,000%. Like if they come in just exhausted and they don't want to train, I like, dude, you're like my 10th session today.
Yeah.
Like if you're coming in here with that energy, I'm not gonna want to train you either. Like this hour is gonna suck for both of us.
Yeah.
But then like it could be like my 10th, 11th, 12th session. This happened at Upward in my old gym, like where I had Nate. Yep,
last
Nate.
session of the day.
Last session of the day. I was fired up for it. I worked since 5 a.m. Got to 7 p.m. I'm exhausted like the rest of it, like the whole day. But yeah, like I was saying, though, like the last session, even like my soccer girl that I had the one time, that she came in at 8 p.m. like twice a week, and I'm exhausted obviously. But then she comes in full energy, wants to work hard, and she's just a great person to train. It was hard for me to fall asleep then after that one, just because of the energy that she brought, or like different clients. It's those middle of the day ones, or like the fresh after school ones. Like those are tough. There's some of them. Sometimes those.
No, I mean, I definitely feel it. Jordan always said that too, because I would always train like especially in the fall last year, it was all the younger kids, and then Nevin, and then I would train Jordan 1-on-1 after, and he was always like, he'd always like start warming up while I was like coaching with them, and he was always like, man, why do you guys always put Dan in a bad mood? He's always fine with me. It's like, Jordan, it's because like you're not only are you like the best athlete like in the country,
you're also like one of my best friends.
You're also one of my best friends, and you're just like the most lighthearted, most like joking person ever. It's like, how am I not going to be in a good mood when I work with you? Like all the other kids, like they just throw 40 meters and then complain about everything all the time.
It's like, I don't want to hear this.
But yeah, no, that's awesome though. I mean, I completely get what you're saying. Like when you have those athletes that really want to be there working with you, you know, you feel like they want to work with you, so you want to give that back to them.
You want to reciprocate it. Like you feel like you want to make sure they get the best session possible, and then it's hard to get that. Like I know as a coach, like all the coaches will say, like the courses and everything, like, you got to bring the energy. Like you have to like give them your all every single time. I'm like, dude, private sector.
Yeah, Tim Riley talked about that in his podcast.
Did he really?
Yeah, he was just saying, he's like, yo, private sector, they're paying for the time, and I'm providing a service. So if this mom doesn't want to get screamed at like a drill sergeant, and this is her only 2 hours a week off, you know, if I see her twice a week for an hour, it's her only time away from like her job and her family and her kids. Like she wants to use this as like a decompression, not a drill sergeant session.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, if you're paid by the school to produce a winning championship team and the people roll up 5 minutes late,
doesn't matter what the athlete, it becomes not so much what the kids think or what they want, it's what the administration wants.
Yeah.
It's like, even if it, like, sometimes a kid could just need a 20-30 minute talk to like bring them back down to earth and clear their mind a little bit, and then maybe do some light stuff in the weight room. Like that's probably a better session overall, like on like a big timeline, like 30,000 feet up view. Like you see the
Seattle Supersonic.
Basketball, baby. Old school. That's old school. That's an old school reference. But it's like
Thunder though.
The Thunder.
That's who they became.
Don't they play Sunday night?
Yeah, Game 7.
Should watch. It'll probably be at the Cigar Lounge if you want to go.
Okay.
It'll probably be on the Cigar Lounge.
I'm actually serving security
at 7 p.m. The game's at 7 p.m.
No, it's at 4:30. I got to be there, so I think I should be done by. I'll probably be done at 7, so maybe on my way back.
Yo, if anyone's in the area, Orange, Connecticut, pull up to the Orange Cigar Lounge on the Post Road.
This episode's not going to be out for.
I know. Well, I hope y'all made it.
Stupid. My athlete highlight is so. I've been training a lot more high schoolers in the area. The word of mouth about my training system has been growing a lot. So what's cool is that Charlie, who
shout out Charlie, we know where you're listening.
Yeah, shout out Charlie, who has been helping us out with the back end, some projects in Jack Javelin, which has been very helpful. But he won the state open in New Hampshire, and then we had the New England championships in New Britain, Connecticut. So what happens is the top 6 kids from each state in New England go to compete at New England's. So out of the 6 kids that competed from the boys' side, out of the 6 that made it to New England's from Connecticut, 5 of them were my athletes. And then Charlie from New Hampshire was a state open champion. So Charlie got second at New England's, and then my other 5 qualified. But I just thought that was cool because out of the state open in Connecticut, out of the top 6, 5 of them were Jack Javelin athletes, and then they made it to New England's to represent. So
I saw that on your story.
yeah, so that was really cool for me, just kind of like a proud moment, because it's not even like
Proud dad.
it's not even like I try to target like the top athletes in Connecticut, and then like I'm like, yo, like come work with me. They all just found me, and we all worked. Whether it's not even like I'm like targeting the best athletes and like, yo, come work with me, come work with me. It's like 2 kids from Haddam Killingworth last year started doing lessons, and then I've been working with them for 2 years, and they both made it. And at the state division meet, they came 1-2, and it's like then the other 3 were just my athletes that I've been working with for the last like year or 2, and then they also happen to qualify as well. So it's just really cool to see that the kids that are working with me are taking it serious and progressing and making a name for themselves. And then my other athlete, Mallory, she threw like 38 meters this year as a junior in high school for a girl. That's really good. And she also made it to New England's, which was really awesome. But then she's also a multi, so javelin's not even like the only event she does. And she came in 2nd place at the CIAC heptathlon. So out of all the multis in Connecticut,
Hept is what, 7? 6.
6. Yeah, so the guys do 10, the girls do 6. But she came in 2nd overall in Connecticut for the hept, which is awesome because, obviously when you're doing a lot of those different events, it could be hard to just make it through 2 days of competing and being very versatile in the running, jumping, and throwing. So she did a great job there, so that's been really cool. But yeah,
That's sick. Jack Javelin's growing.
Yeah, taking over.
The rise of Rome.
All right. Thanks for we got the outro.
We got the outro, babe. We don't need to say shit no more.
All right, we out.
We out. Roll the clip.